Alrighty, so at this point I have erased all of the lines in my forms that I don't need so that it appears that some things are on the top and some things are farther behind. So what I'm going to ask for you all to do today is to shade all of your forms that are round in some way. So what I have here is my cone that I have shaded so that it looks three-dimensional. So what I'm going to do now is to just as a review, just shade this sphere with you. When you're thinking about shading your round forms, what I would like is for you to think about, okay, what do you want your overall colors to look like? How do you want your overall image to be? And when I'm shading things that are round, this is my normal process. Okay, I like to kind of have an outline so that it helps me not go out of the lines as easily. I think it kind of speeds up my coloring. And then also, if you are starting out with just like a one basic value, I think it makes it easier to blend everything later. So what I want to do now is to decide where my light source is. And I think for my purposes, I will have my light source coming from this way. So this side will actually be the darkest. So what I'm doing is now gonna like add a pretty dark layer of value just on the very edge, where in a normal sphere or just in life, if the space that's farthest away from the light will appear the darkest, which makes so much sense. It's kind of nice when things are logical. Okay, so at this point, what I can do is just to like kind of continue slowly adding layers of value, slowly adding layers of color, so that by the time I'm finished shading this, then it will appear to be three-dimensional. So, it's pretty cool considering we just started out with one round shape, one circle, and then now just with like a little bit of time and attention and effort, we have now allowed it to achieve more of its potential, okay, with being actually three-dimensional. Depending on, your visual preferences, you might want to make the other spaces darker. I could also add a little bit of a darker line here, right beside the cone, to show that there's a little shadow. If that's something that you're interested in, I would encourage you to do that or to add that, but not required. We want to also just think about what do you like, what do you want your work to look like, and then go for that. So okay, here we have a sphere and a cone that are shaded. Again, you want to be focused on making your round forms like have the shading be really smooth. Okay. I am not going to go over the flat forms with you today because I would like to do a different kind of style of work with those tomorrow. We have cone, we have sphere. Let's look at a cylinder. Cylinder will be like a pretty similar process to these the round forms, in that I'm going to, begin with just a light layer of value over the whole space. I'm also not yet doing this bottom face because it doesn't follow the same kind of rules as the actual like curved part of the form. So I'm just going to leave that space for later. All right, again, I have just like this flat layer of color over the whole thing. And so now what I want to do is to decide, okay, which parts are light, which parts are dark. I think maybe just for funsies, we can mix it up and have the darkest space be in the center. So I'm going to then, all right, start in the middle with I'm pressing the pencil about as hard as it'll go while I can still use it, getting my value to be darker. And what I'm going to do is to just slowly lessen up on the pressure as I'm going closer towards the edge. And then ideally what will happen is I will have something that resembles an actual like three-dimensional cylinder with the light coming from the opposite side. So it's actually like we can't really see the light source because it's on the opposite side of the cylinder. But having the shadows of your forms in different spaces and having different kind of organizations of values. So for example, the light source is shining directly onto this cone. The light source is kind of from the back on the cylinder. When you have things like that in your work, what you will find is that it makes it enhances the multiple perspectives. So it's really telling you that you're not seeing all of these from the same, position. I think for myself, I guess I'll just make this dark since it is on the bottom. All right, so what I'm going to ask is that you all finish shading all of your forms that are round today, which means your cones, your spheres, and your cylinders. And however you want to do that is up to you, but adding value to the forms so that they look three-dimensional.